Welcome to Spectrum Sphere, the place where curiosity meets discovery. Today, we delve into the inspiring and tumultuous life of Joan of Arc, the peasant girl who became a national heroine of France. Join us as we unfold the story of the Maid of Orleans. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and journey through history with us. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spectrum Sphere, where we explore the most fascinating chapters of history. In this episode, we're turning the pages back to the story of a remarkable figure, Joan of Arc, known as the Maiden of Orleans. Stay with us as we revisit her legendary saga. Before we delve into Joan of Arc's incredible story, let's set the stage with the Hundred Years' War. This prolonged series of conflicts between England and France fundamentally reshaped medieval Europe, setting the scene for a peasant girl to emerge as an unlikely hero in a time of chaos and war. Born into a peasant family around 1412 in Domremy, France, Joan of Arc was a spirited child amidst war-torn territories. Growing up, she tended to animals and mastered household chores, yet she was characterized by a deep piety and an uncommon sense of destiny beyond her pastoral life. At the age of 13, Joan experienced her first divine vision. Figures she identified as Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret entrusted her with a daunting task: to support the French king and rid the land of English domination. Compelled by faith, Joan felt an unwavering call to action. Undeterred by the skepticism she faced, Joan sought out the local garrison commander at Vaucouleurs. With unrelenting resolve, she implored him to escort her to the Dauphin, Charles VII. Joan's passionate pleas and vivid recounting of visions eventually swayed him, setting her on the path to Chinon and destiny. Upon arrival at the court of Charles VII, the uncrowned king of France, Joan faced a test to confirm her divine guidance. In a display of astute perception, she identified Charles amidst his courtiers, despite his concealment. This insightful recognition played a pivotal role in earning his trust and shaping her destiny. Joan's unyielding spirit and unshakable conviction quickly resonated with the French troops. Her presence was a beacon of hope, igniting morale and revitalizing the weary soldiers. With Joan bearing her sacred banner, the army felt emboldened, a newfound confidence surging through their ranks in anticipation of the battles to come. And so it was that Joan of Arc, with her fervent faith and warrior's heart, led a decisive charge to lift the Siege of Orléans. Her arrival was the turning point. Under her guidance, the French forces outmaneuvered the English, breaking their hold and claiming a pivotal victory in the Hundred Years' War. Following the success at Orléans, Joan's next major campaign was along the Loire River. Her presence was a beacon of hope, galvanizing the French forces. Together, they won a series of swift victories at Jargeau, Meung-sur-Loire, and Beaugency, decisively defeating the English and reclaiming key strategic locations in the valley. With a path now cleared, thanks to Joan's inspiring leadership, the way to Rheims was open for Charles VI. In a historic and symbolic act, Joan stood by as Charles was anointed and crowned King of France in the Rheims Cathedral, fulfilling the prophecy that a maiden would secure the legitimacy of the true king. As the French troops rallied around their newfound symbol of hope, Joan of Arc, the military momentum shifted dramatically. The decisive victories that followed, especially at Patay, proved catastrophic for the English and their Burgundian allies, paving the way for a rejuvenated French offensive that would eventually turn the tide of the war. Tragedy struck when Joan of Arc, courageously defending Compiègne from Burgundian assault, fell into enemy hands. This moment marked a devastating turn in her story. Despite her valiant efforts to liberate the town on May 23, 1430, she was ultimately captured, and her fate fell into the hands of her captors. As Joan of Arc languished in her cell, the political machinations that would lead to her trial began to churn. Held by the Burgundians, an ally of the English, Joan became a pawn in their power struggle against the French crown. Her capture was not merely a military setback, but sparked a controversial trial that would be steeped more in politics than in justice. The English, determined to undermine her influence, levied a plethora of charges against Joan, including heresy and witchcraft. In a trial that was as much about discrediting Charles VII as punishing her, biased clerics and legal experts were gathered to conduct a highly irregular and politically motivated process. Despite the grim circumstances of her trial, Joan's defiance was undaunted. She faced her accusers with remarkable composure, her testimonies resonating with unshakable faith. Each question aimed to entrap her was met with astute and often disarmingly simple answers that highlighted her innocence and steadfastness. The trial of Joan of Arc was fraught with accusations of heresies, a pivotal moment where she was rigorously questioned about her visions and actions. Authorities probed her every word, seeking to undermine her claims of divine inspiration, while Joan maintained that her guidance came directly from God. In an intense showdown of faith versus authority, Joan faced insurmountable pressure and temporarily recanted her statements to avoid execution. Granted a brief reprieve, she was moved from death row to a church prison. However, this moment of concession did little to quell the determination of her captors. Despite all odds, Joan of Arc's resilience shone through. She recanted her previous confession, reaffirming her mission's divine origin. This act sealed her fate, with authorities sentencing her to be burned at the stake. In the midst of roaring flames, Joan met her tragic end, becoming a martyr for her cause. The execution of Joan of Arc elicited a complex reaction from the public. While some viewed it as the extinguishing of a heretic, many more were moved by her unwavering faith and valor. Her death ignited a profound sense of loss and ultimately helped galvanize the French resistance against English forces. Joan of Arc's martyrdom transcended her immediate military contributions. In the wake of her death, she became a unifying emblem for the French nation, inspiring a renewed fervor to resist the English. Her legend grew, shaping the narrative of France's national identity and the course of its history for centuries to come. 25 years after her execution, a posthumous retrial initiated by the now King Charles VII cleared Joan of Arc's name, nullifying the previous verdict. The trial's extensive review of evidence and testimonies ultimately led to her exoneration, forever altering Joan's legacy from heretic to martyr and national hero. Despite centuries passing since her death, Joan of Arc's influence never waned. In an extraordinary reversal of fate, she was canonized as a saint by Pope Benedict XV in 1920. This ultimate recognition solidified her status not just as a French national heroine, but also as a timeless icon of faith and determination. Joan of Arc's legacy is indelibly etched in history and culture. Revered as a heroine of France for her role during the Hundred Years' War, she has become a symbol of national pride and fervent patriotism. Her story resonates through the arts, literature, and popular discourse, transcending time and inspiring countless generations. Joan of Arc's unwavering spirit has solidified her status as an emblem of courage and faith. Her remarkable journey from a humble peasant girl to a valiant leader in the battlefield exemplifies an extraordinary testament to conviction and bravery amidst insurmountable odds. Joan continues to inspire those who champion justice and righteousness. Joan of Arc transcends her historical narrative, becoming a powerful icon for myriad movements and causes. From feminism to nationalism, her name evokes themes of liberation and resistance. Diverse groups have looked to Joan as a symbol of unwavering strength and the resolve to challenge the status quo. Joan of Arc's story continues to captivate us, resonating through numerous modern media portrayals. Her character appears in films, literature, and even video games, each interpretation shedding new light on her legend. These contemporary representations often explore the duality of her vulnerability and her indomitable spirit. Joan of Arc's story powerfully illustrates how one individual's actions can shift the tide of war. Amidst the chaos and despair, her extraordinary courage and leadership not only bolstered the morale of the French army, but also helped to ignite a sense of national identity and purpose during a critical juncture in history. In closing, Joan of Arc's life is a tapestry of bravery, faith, and enigma woven into the fabric of France's history. Her legacy, embroidered with myths and legends, continues to captivate us, reflecting our enduring fascination with a peasant girl who became a national heroine. As we've explored, Joan of Arc, from her humble beginnings to leading French troops into battle, profoundly impacted the Hundred Years' War. Her visions, conviction, and ultimate martyrdom remain a powerful narrative of leadership and sacrifice that shaped French national identity and the course of European history. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey with Spectrum Sphere. If you enjoyed delving into the life and legacy of Joan of Arc, please show your support by hitting that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more diverse and engaging content. Until next time, keep exploring. Thank you all for tuning in to Spectrum Sphere. We hope you've been inspired by the remarkable story of Joan of Arc. If you've enjoyed our exploration, please consider subscribing and giving us a like. Your support encourages us to keep bringing you compelling stories from all spectrums of history.